Okay, welcome back to ToMakeItGo. On last week's episode, we saw that I can now walk what I called primitives. So today, in this episode, I'm going to be attempting to walk objects. So we will build a nested response. What I mean by a nested response is another object with an identifier at the top of it, like this. So one of these returned from a method inside of it. So let's start defining my class. Okay, class I'm going to be called is nested class base. I need this stuff. Need the annotations at the top. I also need another class, public static nested class inner. I don't know if nested is quite the right word, but it's the word I'm going to use. Okay, we don't want that because that wouldn't make any sense. Only the base class should ever have the HTTP response code on it. You wouldn't want it to set. You can't change that midstream. Yeah, because that'd just be confusing if you had multiple of them. This guy needs a primitive in it. We'll take this. Get integers, return zeros. Pretty straightforward. Now you get a public nested class inner. Or in this case, nested. Nesting kind. What is that? Sorry. Got distracted there. Sometimes IntelliJ brings up interesting things, and you just gotta go and look at them for reasons. Die. Get inner object. And we'll just return a new one. We'll put an add identity on here. We will call this inner. So success should have an inner. An inner should be an object of type success with an ID. So enter object. Enter object again? No. How? Okay. So what should this look like? Enter object. Is the top level there? That put the type in there. So that would be this. So this is the entering the object. I need to alert that I have entered a method. Something similar to enter primitive. Oh. Yeah. We'll see. Test nested. Objects. Not trying to be super classy with my X's instead of... sorry. Okay. So in this test, we'll need a new walker. We'll need to create our object and walk it and see what happens. Let's grab this stuff because I'll need that. As it sits, I'm going to imagine that this is going to... So right now, I believe the behavior should... What I think the code will do and not what I want it to do. I think it's going to enter this. I'm going to get a visits HTTP code. I'm going to get a success, enter object success, and then I'm going to get an enter primitive inner. Then I am going... Yeah. Well, it's not primitive. Enter method? I may split that apart so you get enter method, exit method, and then visit back. We shall see. It might actually just be enter object with more stuff in it? Let's find out. Oh, this is where I specify what I want. So search, enter object. This is a success. Let's just check to make sure that my test environment's up, that this will pass, because I'm going to make sure. Okay. Now the next thing, right now its current behavior would be enter exit primitive. This type is going to be nested class. This is inner. And then I will have an exit object. Okay. Oh, what did I do wrong? I didn't. There. Okay. I got an error. Something's happening that I think. Ah, because then it returned me the new object. Okay. Which makes sense. So I don't want it to do that. I want it to say, hey, I'm entering object again. So I think I'm going to override enter or give another enter object that just has the idea and the object's class. Yeah. Don't know how I feel about that. Or would I expect another enter object with inner? So thinking is a bit hard right now. So inner, then I would start doing stuff and I wouldn't give it the identifier at the top. Yeah, okay. So that means on inner classes, you won't ever see this identifier. Which makes me wonder if I can just have a default in here. Oh, then why would I require you to have it? I should keep it somehow. So enter object, enter object? Okay. I am going to change this. I'm going to change my interface up a bit. We are now going to have a enter object, exit object, enter method, exit method, enter primitive, and this won't have an identifier. Yeah. Enter an object, enter a method. The method is a primitive. Here's the value. Here's what the return type was of whatever invoked it. But I don't even know if I need that class particularly. Yeah, I want that class. However, in some cases that may end up being enter method, exit method, enter primitive, and then we would enter object again, and then we would, yes, I like it, yeah. Okay. We no longer have that. So let's go to our test and correct some of what I have just done. That goes away. 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 You get 2 new methods. Entries.add. Enter method. Exit method. Now I need to go to this guy. I don't have one of those anymore. You don't have one of those anymore. You don't have one of those anymore. You go away. And then we need a helper method for enter and exit method. Enter method. Exit method. And these are going to have to match my keywords from down here. The reason I did this is it struck me that I was going to walk myself into a corner. I think this will allow me to escape it. I don't have that anymore. You don't exist. You don't exist. You don't exist. You don't exist. Now I have a search enter method. I believe this was ID. Get an exit. And I believe this is reason. That's what I expect. I'm going to kill the size for now because I'm just going to be paranoid. Enter method. We got a value. Okay. That tells me I need to go to my test. Listener dot enter method. Method identifier. Exit method. Don't know why I keep doing that. Tap, 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 tap. Okay, this guy should now pass. This guy's not going to pass because there are now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 things in there, and I need to remove 6. Okay. Everything else passes except this method down here, which is just not even right. Okay. So at this point, I would expect insert enter method. Because we're going to walk into this method, we're going to call the method. It's inner. If I enter it, I expect to exit it. Takes the entries. You take the entries. I would also expect at this point to enter, I assert that I'm going to enter another object. So I've entered the method, I'm going to enter the object, and exit the object. And it's not success, it is success. We're going to call that nested inner. Nested inner, we enter the nested inner object, we exit the nested inner object. And this dude is going to be integer type, no class. And that's going to be after we enter method, exit method. I believe I called it ID. That is what I want to see when I walk in nested object. So, we'll see what happens. It does nothing. So we entered object, we got to enter object, but we're not. Okay, so we got 2 here. This is where we failed, which is about what we expect, because at this point we don't have anything. Okay. If method, okay. So now we need to have an if statement. If let's actually pull this up. And we will make object up here. Invoke. Invoke is going to be null for now. Making decisions. Scary, scary decisions. Okay. I should probably throw an exception and terminate my... Yeah, but I don't want to throw an exception. That'd be just gross. Or alert to my visitor that I found an exception. So that's that. Now we need to ask a question. If method... I'm going to use the method return type. Type dot is annotation present. Identifier.class. So if you have an identifier on there, otherwise we need to walk you. Now, the simplest way I can think of to do that is to do all of this again. I don't want that. Okay. We're going to inline this. And I'm going to move that up higher. Method, method, method. Object. It returns an object. Oh no, it takes an object. Sorry, I was like, what? It's void. It should be void. There we go. I don't particularly know that that check needs to happen ever again because I wouldn't go into an object if I didn't need to. So then, making my test pass should be as simple as walk object, invoke. But I would need that. I won with the ways of recursion. I won with the ways of recursion. Ha 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 ha! Oh no, I broke a test. New object. Ah, so this exploded because I have now changed the order of what the order which I threw exceptions. So if I put this back, my test will pass. Because I didn't change that bit. I shouldn't have. Ta-da! Ta-da, ta-da, ta-da. Hooray, hooray. So now, yeah, a recursive call inside of a stream for more recursive calls. And you notice, IntelliJ didn't even recognize that I had a recursive algorithm. Because traditionally, they'll put a little symbol there if they detect... Yeah, see? I found something that they probably would tell me never ever do. I'm quite pleased with that. I should submit that as a bug, but I'm not going to because they would mock me. Well, I doubt they'd mock me. Okay. There we go. Except, yeah, walk object doesn't have a null check. Okay. That's a bit of a problem. Let's write a test to catch it. So what I saw is, if we come over here, We're going to give this guy a constructor. Make this a field. Going to initialize it in the constructor. Force it up into a parameter. Oh. That's fine. Grab this. Test this as object with inner object null. To take this, I'm going to call null on it, and something different will happen. Kaboom! It exploded! So, now, enter object, because I can't do any of this. Let's enter method. At that point, I think I actually call enter primitive and hand it a null with the type of my inner object. Because null is it's a bit weird that I'm going to switch to primitives, but yeah, I think that's what I want to do. Okay. Okay. Make the test represent what I want the code to do. So now, in this case, we would expect a null. And the type that I would expect is a nested class inner. Now I got a null pointer. Okay, we'll stop the null pointer. So now we say if invoke equals null, else. That would take care of my exception, but now I'm going to fail for it. I'll take care of my error, but now I'll fail for an assertion. I didn't get my null. I will enter primitive. Okay. That looks to me like it's duplicated. I'm entering the method, I'm doing some logic. Enter the method. Invoke is always null. So if invoke is null, we go in there. Or it is not annotated with identifier. There we go. Run all the tests. Okay. That does mean if I got an illegal state or an invocation target, I'm going to be like, no, which may be misleading to the developer later, which in the case is me. That may be misleading for me later. Okay, but for now, I'm going to accept it. And that is rendering inner objects. So now, in theory, I could nest infinitely deep, building whatever structure I wanted. So let's walk through here and see if there's anything I can clean up or I'm not happy with. Those are perfectly acceptable things to throw a fit about. I set the HTTP response, then I walk the object. Okay, walking the object. I announce that I'm entering the object, I announce that I'm exiting the object, and I visit every field in there. I think I have pretty good test coverage on this object, so let's... test coverage so I can see my lines. Oh wow, you open that real big. So I never got in here, which is fine for now because I said I'm not going to do that. I never constructed these? I didn't throw those? Ah. Run all of them. There we go. I threw all these objects. I visited everything. I got everything but here. Okay. At this point, comparator. Go away, comparator. Yeah, I do this a lot. Tempted to make that a method. So given an object, return its identifier value. Let's get identifier. And then that can just get that. I also ask if it's present a lot. Is identifier. Present. Identifier present. Okay. Rename that. A little bit of refactoring. Clean these things up. Put the class and that method beside each other. Format it as my method. I'm gonna force that up into a parameter, which sorry. Force that up to a parameter. To walk. A class works. Get identifier. Object identifier. Bit of a to walk class. I like that. I don't know why tape's telling me 2 hits. Okay, so we have the 2 class. We grab the object. We visit the inside. Visit the methods of the object. I want to make that its own method, but it's just a lambda for now, so I won't. Okay, I've just done a bunch of refactoring. Let's check to see that all my tests pass. They don't. I've broken everything. Which means, what have I broken? Enter method ID, exit object success. Success ID. That's a bit weird. But for that, I'm going to call it an end on that high note.